So the preliminary is over with then, as we look now then at the two team lineups. And starting first of all with Wales. Well, they make 9 changes, 1 positional from the team beaten by Ireland in the final Five Nations fixture. That positional switch sees Neil Jenkins move from outside half to centre, and Adrian Davies, one of 7 Cardiff players in Alec Evans' first selection, is brought in at number 10. His Arms Park club partner Andy Moore is one of 2 new caps, the other being Bridgend's 20-year-old Gareth Thomas on the wing. The Japanese have sprung their surprise by leaving out their exciting winger and goal kicker, Yoshihito Yoshida. They're worried about his defensive frailties. That's one of 2 changes from the team that beat Romania 3 weeks ago, 34-21 in Tokyo. There are 4 foreign-born players in this lineup, 3 Tongans, winger Otto and Sione Insinali Latu, and also Fijian in Bruce Ferguson. Just a quick look at the replacements bench. Wayne Proctor will double up as a winger and a full-back for Wales. Then David Evans of Torquay, Robert Jones, Stuart Roy, the Cardiff lock, Ricky Evans, happily recovered from injury, the Llanelli prop, and Jonathan Humphreys, the uncapped Cardiff hooker. Just waiting until the networks all over the world are ready to join the coverage of this match from Bloemfontein, which will be refereed by a man who the Welsh players know quite well, Sklar from Argentina. He took charge of 2 matches on the Welsh tour of the South Seas last winter in Fiji and Tonga. Conditions set fair for this game then. Wales having won the toss, and it'll be Japan who will kick off. And it's the man who's been brought in place of Yoshida, Masuo on the left wing, who will get this game underway in just a few moments. Your last minute thoughts, Gareth?
Well, Wales will be looking from their point of view, control, and keep that ball, play the game as you want to. And Japan will be thinking the complete opposite. How can we get that ball away very, very quickly, away from those big men, those big dominant forwards that Wales possess?
Referee Sklar then checks with both skippers. And it's left wing. Torinori Masuho gets the Japanese game underway. And the first touch immediately there. A nice mark too for one of the 2 Welsh new caps, Andy Moore from Cardiff. And so we come to the first line out of this game, and this is sure to be a key battle, and one surely that Wales will expect to win, with the 6'6" Gareth Llewellyn at the front of the line out, and Derwyn Jones 6'10" in the middle. And the Japanese jumpers, Sakuraba is just 6'3" and Ferguson is just 6'4". The Japanese skipper, Kunda, into the line then. Hirao immediately under pressure. Hemi Taylor, the first man up there. Wales, of course, playing in their change strip of green today. And Stuart Davis, who's been brought in, the Swansea number 8, on the flank for Wales, doing particularly well. John Davis takes the move on. This is a bright start by Wales. Now they look to ruck the ball, but that's stolen. Well stolen there by Sakuraba, the lock forward for Japan. But referee Sklar gives Wales the put-in at the first scrum.
And we saw very, very quickly there how determined Japan are to move that ball, even though it was very poor quality ball. And Hirokoshi just tapped that ball to his outside half, which probably could have ended up in hospital had the play not been so slow.
Andy Moore feeds again then, controlled at number 8 by Emyr Lewis. And Ieuan Evans poised possibly to come in this move. Neil Jenkins, the switch first of all to Clement. Back towards strength. Now then Wales will look for the quick possession for Jenkins. First touch for Hall. This is a bright start by Wales. They look to capitalise on this surely. Possession once again for Moore. Sticking to the blind side. Ieuan Evans goes in to play scrum half and gets it away to Jenkins. That's a lovely switch back to Emyr Lewis. Great start this by Wales. Just 10 metres out. John Davis taking it on. The Japanese forced to defend desperately. Adrian Davis. Gareth Llewellyn couldn't quite take that ball though. But the Japanese up in an offside position. So the first chance then for Wales after just 2 minutes of this first half. and it'll be a penalty goal towards the posts by Neil Jenkins.
And as Gareth Llewellyn walked back from that tackle, he must have been wondering, how can these small men knock me down so hard as all that? Which is a reminder to everybody that Wales really will have to keep on tucking in, battling hard to retain that possession, because these Japanese certainly can tackle. But Wales certainly have started off very confidently, keeping the ball very tight, and Adrian Davis just bringing the ball back into his back row to try and tie in the Japanese.
First chance then for Neil Jenkins. It's amazing to think that he's still just 23 years of age. Already the Welsh record point scorer, 358 points in 33 games. Quite a record, that. And as ever, he'll go through exactly the same routine each time, whether the kick is right in front of the posts or out on the touchline. Sweetly struck by Jenkins, right down the middle of the posts, and so Wales take the lead by 3 points to 0 after just 3 minutes of play in this first half. And that, Gareth, will do a lot, I'm sure, for Welsh nerves.
Well, it will steady them, there's no question about that. It was a bright start by Wales, and already Japan are wondering how they can get some kind of possession. But this game has got a long way to run, and I'm sure we'll be in for a few surprises before the end of the afternoon.
Centre Matoki, this time with the restart. That's rather too long. Again, the chance for Moore to claim the mark. Challenge through on him by Kashihara, the flanker. So what do you expect to see the Welsh tactic this afternoon, particularly early on, Gareth?
Well, more or less of what we've seen in these opening minutes, keeping it tight, bringing it back to the back row, driving in to stop the Japanese spreading out, and because they're very, very quick and fit men, just tie them all in before releasing the ball.
Towards the back then for Ferguson. Can't quite get to it. But on the drive, again goes Big Ferguson. Knocked on though by Lopetti Otto. Referee waits for an advantage and decides that's quite enough from Adrian Davis. His clever little kick down the touchline. This just the second full international between these two countries. Wales won that game 55-5 back in 1993 in Cardiff. They've played 4 other times in non-cup games. Wales have won them all, obviously, but 29-24 only back in 1983. And Japan certainly gave Wales a big score that day. Once again then, the Japanese cutting down the line. But Wales penalised at the line-out. Quickly taken then. In on the drive again then is Ferguson. Little Horikoshi bringing Sione Latu into play. This is the sort of style we expect to see from the Japanese. Just failed to take the ball with them that time, but possession is here for them again from Horikoshi to Hirao. Opens it up then, Matsuo. Out to Masuho. Ian Evans shepherds him across well, and just unable to keep that ball alive. And there, I think, Gareth, we saw what Hirao, this experienced outside half, will look to do for Japan.
Yes, and we also saw the kind of play that Japan really know they have to play if they're going to get anything out of this game. It's the quick movement of the ball. They do pass that ball at great speed and run onto it at great speed. And that really, in a simplistic way, is the way rugby should be played.
Sakuraba waits at the front, but that's a lovely leap by Gareth Llewellyn for Wales. Supported ably and correctly, decided the referee. Stuart Davis in again to John Davis, showing his pace. Adrian Davis was just outside him, but he couldn't find him. Mike Griffiths takes it on. Gareth Llewellyn on the drive, going all the way through. Unable to get the pass out though to Andy Moore, and Adrian Davis lining up for it. And Latu, Sione Latu, comes away with the ball for Japan. But it's Wales who'll get the put in at the scrum, and really maybe Wales should have scored there, Gareth.
Well, I think Gareth Llewellyn thought he was away, wasn't he? But I mean, his legs seemed to just fail him. He'd done the hard work, but it's easy to say from here. The boys have been working very, very hard in these initial moments. But certainly, I think from Wales's point of view, they must be quite satisfied. They are controlling it. They're keeping it very tight. And the immediate objective in tying in the Japanese is certainly been well founded.
There had been a suggestion, a very strong suggestion, in fact, in the build-up to this game, that Gareth Llewellyn might well have lined up as blindside flanker.
Yes, I think he's quite capable. He showed his speed. And I think the unfortunate thing for Gareth there is that he actually tripped himself. And that certainly was the only reason that he didn't score a try for Wales.
Happily recovered again then to take his place in this scrum. Andy Moore waiting to feed as soon as referee Sklar is happy that the scrum is square. Controlled by Emyr Lewis then. Adrian Davis. Into the gap comes Clement. Support from Hemi Taylor. Now Wales have options on both sides. Davis to Emyr Lewis. Good tackling again. Tremendous tackling by the Japanese. Brave fall by Garen Jenkins for Wales, but that time the Japanese front row man, Osamu Ota, going in over the top and killing the ball. So a penalty to Wales, and I'm sure a second opportunity towards the posts by Neil Jenkins.
Yeah, Wales are trying to play the game at the pace, and I'm not so sure they'd be better off in maybe just controlling it, slowing it down a little bit. The faster the game, we see the penalty here with the opposition going over the line there from over the ball from Wales's point of view. But I think Wales would be better to slow the game down. They're a little bit too eager to move it. The control is quite good, but playing it at a fast pace certainly only enhances it as far as Japan are concerned.
Neil Jenkins then with that Welsh penalty so far, scoring in his 24th consecutive appearance for Wales. He's scored now in 30 out of 34. All the time in the world again. That again is a brilliant effort. Has he got the legs? Indeed it has. So after just 10 minutes play in the first half, it's the boot of Neil Jenkins as ever that's given Wales a 6-0 lead with his second penalty. And where would Wales have been in the last couple of seasons without Neil Jenkins, Gareth Edwards?
Certainly, and we've come to depend heavily on his shoulders, but his kicking always has been immaculate, and I'm sure Wales are glad that he's given them this platform already in this match.
Better kick off that time by Matoki. Gareth Llewellyn underneath it. Adrian Davis just having a look up to see if Neil Jenkins was better placed outside him, but decided to take it on himself. Adrian Davis winning his 8th Welsh cap today, as again the Japanese cut down the line-outs. Just knocked on by Ferguson. Bruce Ferguson, who made his debut for Japan in that fixture against Wales back in 1993. This time, free kick against the Japanese front row, quickly taken by Wales. First touch for Gareth Thomas then, 15 stone 11, 6'3" of him. A really big man on the wing, but tidied up by Kunda, the skipper for Japan. Andy Moore this time under pressure from Sione Latu. But plenty of Welsh support there. But stolen by the Japanese. Now here's a chance to open it up to Matsuo on the left wing. Getting good support too from Otoki, the centre, doing a good mauling job. And the first chance then for a real attack from the Japanese. Standing out is Sione Latu. Out onto the right wing to the Tongan Otto. Wales forced to defend. Clement goes back. Pretty solid, but Wales are still under pressure if Japan can win this loose ball. But no, in the end it's cleared by Wales. But a glimpse again there, Gareth, of what the Japanese can do.
Certainly in their attacking prowess there, but I've got a smile on my face because Gareth Thomas was so heavily tackled there that they actually ripped the shorts off him. For a moment I wondered why was he wearing black shorts, but just as well he was wearing a garment underneath his proper white shorts.
The crowd then at Bloemfontein enjoying the sun this afternoon, and the Welsh players glad to have some water too, as we look again then at this attack by Otto.
Yeah, they're looking and probing, trying to sort of turn the Welsh defence, but the problem for them really is where are they going to get the possession from to launch any worthwhile attacks.
Full line out then. Sakuraba again at the front for Japan. As soon as skipper Kunda is happy, the line is straight. Sakuraba at the front. Emmett Lewis has to fall on the ball for Wales. Still danger. But in fact, there had been a knock-on by a Japanese hand spotted by referee Sklar. So this will be a defensive ball to Wales. Well, scrum, as you would expect, pretty solid with a 35-kilo advantage over the Japanese. Scrum half more taking responsibility himself to clear there.
Yes, and it's nice to see how Andy Moore has settled in this first 10-15 minutes. His kicking has been immaculate, his service has been very good indeed, and he looks very, very comfortable considering it's his first international.
Quarter of an hour gone then in the first half. Kunda again towards the middle, taken at the back, in fact, there by Sion Elatu. As now Japan look to take on the drive. Kashihara, number 6, the flanker in there. Needs to be tackled. But it's Wales coming around. Emmett Lewis on the wrong side, to the delight of the crowd here at Bloemfontein. No doubt who they're backing.
Now, I'll be very interested to see who wants to take this kick at goal, because yesterday I saw most of the Japanese forwards taking practice kicks at goal.
In fact, the skipper, Kunda, here has called up his left winger, Masuho, for their first opportunity to the posts. Masuo, quite an experienced player to bring into the side, winning his 13th cap today. Very economical run-up. But just pushing it wide of the posts. So Japan then fail with their first opportunity. Neil Jenkins looking to take it quickly. In fact, just sending it across the field. It's Gareth Llewellyn. Good bit of thinking, but where's the Welsh support? They need to come up more quickly than that. They've in fact given it away, potentially anyway, there to Japan. And really a bit of slack play there, really.
Well, Wales showed a little bit of innovation, but as you rightly said, the support weren't quite enough to think as quickly as Gareth Llewellyn did then.
Well, Japan putting a little bit of pressure on there, but the scrum will have to go down again. Propping against John Davis. Osamu Ota on this side for Japan. Very experienced campaigner, played all 3 games back in the World Cup in 1991. And a hefty 16 stone of him. Adrian Davis, that's a fine kick. Using the thin air at altitude very well there, giving the ball plenty of air. And it will travel quite a bit. We're about 4,000 feet above sea level here at Bloemfontein. Not quite as high as Johannesburg, but still it has an effect on the kicks.
Oh, certainly, and often full-backs have to place themselves much further back in preparation for those long kicks that certainly can catch you out of position.
Tidied up on the Welsh side then by Emyr Lewis. And Andy Moore gets it away. Adrian Davis, the high tester. But in fact, Wales going through there. Penalty against them. I think there might well have been 1-2 men offside too. Little out scrum half Horikoshi. Thinking of taking quickly for the moment, but leaves it in fact to Seiji Hirao. Huge long kick, superb kick that by Hirao. Skipper of Japan 13 times. As we look again then at this Welsh attack.
The Wales are trying to vary their tactics. it was going to be the up and under, but we can see that Neil Jenkins was ahead of Adrian Davis, the kicker, on that occasion.
Sakuraba at the front then in another two-man line for Japan, with Sione Latu lining up in the scrum half position. Over the top to Ferguson. On the drive then, Takahashi the prop. And possession again for Japan. Nice little ball into space there. Yoshida taking it on. Second phase possession too. This time Miss Motoki cutting back towards strength. Ferguson number 5, ripping it back. Good play here by Japan. Putting pressure then. Hirao for the first time on Wales. This is good ruck ball for them. The little fella can't quite get it away quickly enough, Horikoshi. Giving Wales time to regroup there. But in fact, referee Sklar has brought them back for another offside decision against Wales. And there's a very kickable penalty indeed in front of the posts. Second chance then for the Japanese goal kicker, Taranori Masuho. And really, Wales have just lost their way just a little after that bright start.
Well, the Japanese are getting a little bit of possession and using it very, very well indeed.
Well, that's a terrible miss for Japan. That'll be a great disappointment for them. And we saw last night the effect that the missed kicks by Tonga had on that side's performance against France. So Wales let off the hook. Halfway through the first half, Adrian Davis long down towards this big winger Otto, the Tongan. Plenty of time though for Anthony Clement. Not the best kick in the world, but gets away with it. Quickly taken though by Sione Latu, and the run by Motoki. Wales looking to drive over, but the Japanese have done pretty well to maintain possession. Well, they did in the first instance anyway.
And Wales seem to have lost the initiative a little bit. What they must guard against, I suppose, is that they don't kick away any of those that hard-won possession and allow Japan to attack them back. Because the last thing this pack will want to do is to run all over this pitch with the heat obviously very, very taking a great effect on them.
Horikoshi, just 5'2" tall, the little scrum half. And the scrum has gone round 90 degrees, so they'll have to go down again. Little bit of altercation there between Mike Griffiths of Wales and Takahashi, the tight head prop for Japan. And there's quite a battle on this side of the scrum between John Davis and Osamu Ota. Very compact scrimmager, Ota.
Well, Ota and Takahashi are two strong props. And although there's a lot of weight difference in the two pack, Japan really have worked hard on the technical side of the scrum.
This time it's the loose head Ota who's penalised for wheeling that one around. Neil Jenkins has a quick look towards the posts and yes, decides that at this altitude, despite the fact that it's wide out near halfway, that he'll have another go towards the posts. So if you were skippering Wales today, Gareth, what would you do about their approach at the moment?
It's been good in parts, but I think what must concern Mike Hall is that they've tried to get everybody in the team involved. They moved it along the line. It hasn't been that pretty behind, actually. The quality of passing in the Welsh back division hasn't been as good as it can be. But I think Wales ought to revert back to the early tactics of keeping that ball tight before releasing it behind.
Neil Jenkins then, 6 points so far in this game, the Welsh Player of the Year in 94 and 95. Certainly has the distance. Oh, that's a tremendous kick by Neil Jenkins. Over 50 metres. man who scored 38 of the 43 Welsh points in the Five Nations Championship. He showed how important he was then, and now he's put Wales a try and conversion away from Japan, and maybe now they can relax a little more.
Well, some of the hard work Wales have put in, I'm sure they would like a try, and if they could get a try to just take them that much further away, then really they might start relaxing and playing a more expansive game.
For the third time from a kick-off, Andy Moore able to take that ball cleanly. Rather unhappy though with the second high challenge from Kajihara, the flanker. And for the third time in succession, Andy Moore has managed to find touch. Such an important unsung hero in the Cardiff lineup that won the Heineken League title.
Has had a great season, and he's doing the right thing again. He's not going to chance anything. He was going to take the mark there. Obviously, he wasn't too pleased with the way the tackle came through late.
Bit of pushing by Wales there, but allowed to get away with it. Moore away to Davis, to Jenkins. That's not a bad little kick for Gareth Thomas. Not quite standing up for him, but an intelligent kick by Jenkins into the space there, behind right winger Otto. Gareth Thomas could play at centre or wing, and really very powerful built, as I say, almost 16 stone of him. And again in a defensive position as Bruce Ferguson lines up in the middle. Japan going for the full line. And tidy ball, finally cleared up by Ferguson before the referee calls them back for that original knock-on by the Japanese in the line-out.
Yes, and it was interesting to see the pace that the Japanese threw that ball into the line. And you can see the amount of possession that Wales have enjoyed in this half, but they do need a good score from it. A good try would set it up.
Good drive by Ferguson, the Fijian. Gunda, the skipper. That's some bad hands there from Sinali Latu this time. Ball though still lying on the Japanese side. And that's a fine clearance by Motoki, the centre. Despite being under pressure, gets the kick away well to clear Japan into the Welsh half again. In fact, they're being brought back by referee Sklar. Must have been outside the 22. Yes, he was. And the ball then must have landed just about on the line. In fact, it was clear of the line. Derwyn Jones to Moore. Good quick possession then for Wales. Davis the switch, good angle running by Emyr Lewis. Chance here for Hemi Taylor. Mike Hall at his shoulder, just can't take the ball though. Moore goes through. And the try has been awarded.
Yes, the referee played advantage there. We thought that the ball had been knocked on by Wales, but obviously it must have been tapped back by the Japanese in the tackle there when it looked as if Emyr Lewis was going to break through. But fair play to Andy Moore. Everybody else seemed to stop, but he knew that that ball was still in play.
What a great moment then for Andy Moore, winning his first Welsh cap today and celebrating with the tries. We look again at it. Good quick possession from Derwyn Jones and some lovely angles of running here. Adrian Davis on the old 1-2, Emyr Lewis in the support. Now let's see if this ball was actually knocked on. In fact, it hit Mike Hall on the head. So good thinking by Moore, going over for the try.
I'm sure there'll be some classic leg pulling tonight from Andy Moore about the help from his captain at Cardiff on it for Wales.
Straightforward conversion attempt also then for Neil Jenkins. So Wales settling then as we move on into almost the half-hour mark of this first half, extending their lead now then to 16 points to 0.
Here we see the Welsh attack coming through with Hemi Taylor running strongly. This, I think, is Wales' best tactic. Keep the ball together well. From that angle, it looked as if Mike Hall had put his hand up, but I think we can see from the first recording that it did come off his head, and well done, Andy Moore.
Well taken by Gareth Llewellyn this time from the kick-off. And plenty of protection for him and for Andy Moore. And Adrian Davis showing he's equally happy on both feet. A double Cambridge blue, of course, Adrian Davis, at soccer as well as rugby. As again, Japan cut down the numbers to counteract the threat of men like Derwin Jones here at the front of the line. Emmett Lewis showing his strength. Play allowed to continue. The Japanese not trying to interfere with play at all there. But look at this bounce for Ian Evans. Well, certainly the luck is going Wales' way at the moment. None more so than in that move, finished off with great glee by Ian Evans.
Yes, and I think we can see from Ian's expression that they know they don't come much easier than that. But again, give him credit. He was up there, pressurising, and a very kind bounce.
Yes, Ian Evans, the most prolific try scorer in Welsh rugby history. One clear before today of Gareth Edwards here and Gerald Davis, extending their lead then over the legendary two of them with his 22nd Welsh touchdown. Neil Jenkins, by his own standards, taking that one pretty coolly, slotting it between the posts. So Wales now then beginning to run away with it after the Ian Evans try, their second. 23-0 they lead. Motoki with the restart. We'll see what the Japanese players are made of now, having to come back from this, but they have a chance immediately. Bit of obstruction by Wales. And Horikoshi, the little scrum half this time, calling for the set-piece move. Ferguson maybe on the burst. No, he's on the dummy. It goes to Sione Latu. No great penetration in the first instance by Japan. And in fact, it looked as if they had lost the ball anyway. But having taken the ball into the maul, they give the put-in to Wales at the set scrum. Wales lining up with Tony Clement and Adrian Davis in two different outs and half positions. Clement's big boot maybe will come into play here. That's where it goes.
Yes, it was a good, solid scrummage then by Wales, which allowed Andy Moore to get that ball back whenever he wanted to. And they've been working very, very hard at scrummaging all week against the Orange Free State pack. And I know that Alec Evans has really put the forwards through their paces with hundreds of hard-working scrummaging.
Wales going right through that line-out, conceding the free kick. So it's Ferguson again then, on the drive. In fact, it's Sinali Latu, the second of the Tongans, in the back row, filling up with the first one, Sione. Kanchi Hara, the flanker, in there also. Here's second phase possession for Hirao to use. Taking on the Welsh midfield. Good second phase ball again then. On the drive again is Latu. Tremendous attack this by Japan. But the ball had been knocked on. But that was lovely stuff from the Japanese.
Oh, it's a sheer delight to watch, Bob. And of course, they make it so simple. It's the man coming on at speed. That's what you've got to look for. It's the little deft touch and the pass, the timing of the pass and the speed of the man taking it, which causes the problems.
Again, the Welsh scrum pretty solid. And again, it's Tony Clement. Doesn't get a great deal of distance that time, but he has such an economical swing of the boot that very often the timing is good. Not so good that time, but finds a safe touch anyway. And the crowd at Bloemfontein has gone pretty quiet, waiting, I think, for Japan to mount another attack. round the hooker, and skipper for Japan looking a little fed up with that. Hemi Taylor winning that one for Wales. And Adrian Davis setting it up with the help of Stuart Davis. Hemi Taylor in the outside half position. Doesn't want to get isolated though. Japan looking for a turnover, but in too quickly, too keenly. And giving away the penalty, going in over the top. That's a better example of Tony Clement's sweet timing with the penalty. And of course, with the Welsh throw-in at the line-out, a chance to build on something here.
I think you can see the Japanese in their eagerness to rob Hemi Taylor here. The referee actually penalising them for using their hand on the floor while the ball is down there. And although it's on the other side, he did actually penalise him for the use of the hands.
More possession then for Wales. Again, Hemi Taylor breaking the first tackle. Jenkins out to Ieuan Evans. Outnumbered. Tackled late, was he? No, the referee seems to be pretty happy with that. No, back in fact does come referee Sklar to award the penalty to Wales for the late challenge on Ieuan Evans. And Mike Hall immediately pointing towards the posts. So it'll be Neil Jenkins again then looking to keep up this 100% record this afternoon.
Wales moving the ball across the line, a little bit untidy. Ieuan really certainly had no place to go, and you can see the high tackle as much as anything probably allowed the referee no alternative but to give that penalty. And the Japanese must be possibly a little aggrieved because Ieuan was sliding down and being tackled at the same time, but nonetheless it was a high tackle and it was a dangerous one.
And we see then the modern style of goal kicking with the ball pointing forward. And that a fairly typical Neil Jenkins statistical display. I don't think he's going to miss this afternoon, is he? Tremendous kicking performance once again by Neil Jenkins. And Wales coming up to the interval, just under 5 minutes to go, have extended their lead to 26-0.
We'll see the incident yet again here. The tackle, initial tackle, puts Ieuan down there, and then I think, yes, his neck was jarred back and he could have been injured.
Gareth Llewellyn, plenty of time to take that ball from the kick-off and to ease it back again to Andy Moore. And Wales certainly have been clearing up the kick-offs very well.
Yes, and what's pleased me no end has been the fact that at least when they've kicked a touch today, they haven't mistouched at all. They're kicking the ball, making sure it's dead. It's far better to take 10 metres less off your kick and ensure that it does go over the line. Wales have been guilty in years gone by of misdirecting kicks and allowing the opposition back into the game.
Use of the elbow in there by Wales in the line-out. And Japan, I'm sure, will run this one again. Horikoshi, the scrum half, just lining it up. Into Sakuraba in the first instance. Ferguson this time. That's a nice little kick. That is a superb kick by the lock forward.
I'm sure the second row union will have something to say about that. That's not allowed. A deft kick as good as any outside half could do.
Bruce Ferguson, the Fijian, a back row forward by nature really, but forced into the second row because of his comparative size in the Japanese lineup. Looking then to steal this ball. But The Japanese penalised for the gap in that line-out. And again, good length by Tony Clement from that penalty kick. Japan again deciding to go for the full line-out. They've been moving Kajihara. They see him at the front of the line-out, the wing forward. Sakuraba gets hands on the ball, the second row forward for Japan, giving them something of a platform, taken on then by Kunda, the skipper. Stolen by Gareth Llewellyn for Wales, showing good body strength there. That's fine play by Wales. Jenkins. That's how handy it is, obviously, to have two outside halves. Matsuda thinks he's got away, but the touch judge's flag is up. The colourful Japanese fullback, but the touch judge's flag was up immediately. No doubt in his mind at all. Senor Giacomo on the far side. And not many opportunities in attack yet for Matsuda, but he's an exciting runner, the fullback. More away to Davis, to Jenkins. Support on both sides. Hemi Taylor, Adrian Davis. Nice move by Wales to Ian Evans. Wales' third try then of this first half, and the second from the former skipper. And that really was a delightful move, Gareth.
Yes, and I think it couldn't have come at a better time. Wales are beginning to move the ball, getting more and more confident. And yet again, it's the good work done by the forwards, really, that Wales are capitalising on now. The line-out ball, yet again, from Derwyn Jones. Well, Andy Moore, a superb reverse pass. And look at the strength of Neil Jenkins. Good support play. It's that long pass, really, that does all the damage in the end. And Yayan, yet again, runs over for what for him is the relatively easy score. But the hard work had already been done.
Yes, the beautiful long pass by Adrian Davis, giving Ian Evans just the space he needed. Score-wise, I'm sure Gareth Wales will be perfectly happy with this first half performance, but what about the performance itself?
Yes, I think they'll be very pleased with it. They have controlled it. They lost their way a little bit in the middle of the first half, but certainly they've come back and are controlling it yet again.
Well, a miss for the first time by Jenkins, showing that he's actually human. But the third Welsh try of the half has put them into a very comfortable position indeed at 31-0.
Yes, it's a solid platform. We'll see that good quality ball off the top. Andy Moore now full of confidence. It's Jenkins really that takes the Japanese defence out here. Then good support play from Hemi Taylor. And watch this long pass.
In the meantime, Adrian Davis, long kick downfield, but Horikoshi did his best to actually keep it in there. Not long to go to the interval, surely. Played almost 2 minutes of injury time already. Gareth Llewellyn this time with the possession. One more chance for Wales then. Hall on the burst. Tremendous running by the Welsh skipper. Now needs the support. The first man up is John Davis, the prop. And it's Davis who's going towards the line. Just held up short. Stuart Davis charges over. Just held up short, so. Man over for Wales. And Gareth Thomas surely will get his first international try on his debut. The 15 stone 11 coming into good effect there. And delight for a second Welshman then scoring on his debut today.
Wales are cutting cutting through now. The Japanese really have no answer to the strong running of Mike Hall and Neil Jenkins in the centre. And although the ball started from the opposite side of the field, as it comes out for the second time, passing leaves a little bit to be desired, but we won't be too churlish on that. Gareth Thomas gets hold of the ball, and Ieuan Evans has run all the way around for support on the others outside. Probably will acknowledge that the youngster certainly deserved the try and won't say too much about it, although he certainly was clear on the outside.
Yes, Wales getting a little bit of luck again there, and just a little dummy by Gareth Thomas taking him clear. Oh, a second successive miss by Neil Jenkins, but he's done his work well in this first half. And at the interval then, Wales lead by 36 points to 0. One more look then at that Welsh try. John Davis almost getting there himself. And a very warm welcome back to the Free State Stadium here at Bloemfontein for the second half of this game between Wales and Japan. Wales leading by 36 points to 0 at the interval, and well in the driving seat now then, Gareth, to take it on.
Yes, I think Wales must be very pleased, although Alec Evans is a hard taskmaster. He knows they now have a platform from which to work. Although there's been some enterprising rugby in the first half, it hasn't been all that clever behind. Some of the passing has left a lot to be desired, but I'm sure there's room for improvement.
So it's Adrian Davis then, the Welsh outside half, who gets the second half underway. Gareth Llewellyn, the first Welshman up, but it's back on the Japanese side again to Hirao. And that's a fine clearance kick by the veteran outside half. Man who lined up in England at one stage of his career, played for Richmond. But again, it'll be a Welsh throw at the line-out. Sakuraba battling for it, but beautifully taken off the top again by Derwyn Jones, and a good drive by Wales. Garen Jenkins, number 2, such a key man in this setup, driving on. Davis back inside once again then to the back row to Hemi Taylor. The Australian tactic so loved by Alec Evans, the coach. Emyr Lewis, good strength, but again the passing in the 3 quarters, leaving Wales down in the first instance. Set up again though by Clement. Good ruck position this for Wales. Moore to Davis, good hands to Hall, shows his strength, stays on his feet well. John Davis, the prop, coming away with it, taking out the man, giving it to Andy Moore. Mike Hall almost losing the ball behind him. And taking just a bit of a bang for his pains, the new Welsh skipper. But certainly a bright start to the half by Wales.
Yes, I think what I think Wales want to guard against is people wanting to do too much on their own. And although there was a little bit of improvisation there certainly wasn't any room for a try in the corner there.
Japan forced to defend then at the beginning of the second half. There's a bit of a push surely there. But the fullback, Matsuda, gets the ball away well anyway. Wales, of course, having had to go through the ignominy of being forced to qualify for this World Cup, having been beaten most significantly by Western Samoa in the last one. Beautiful leap again by Derwyn Jones. And again the platform for Garen Jenkins to drive on. The ball on the floor for Andy Moore. Jenkins, the little slip pass this time for Ieuan Evans, but it's stolen. Japan still under pressure though. Gareth Llewellyn going through, and there were lots of bodies going in there. I think Wales just a little lucky maybe not to be penalised. A tremendous afternoon and evening of rugby coming up on ITV from this World Cup in South Africa. Don't forget, England's opener against Argentina follows this one at 4 o'clock, and then of course tonight New Zealand against Ireland in this group.
It's really to Japan's credit that they can hold this Welsh pack with such a difference in the weight of the both packs.
Options for Wales this time on both sides. Moore to Hall. No great momentum in that run though, in the first instance by Mike Hall, as Bread of Heaven rings out. Lovely kick by Adrian Davies for Gareth Thomas. Oh, that's superb. Second try on his international debut then for the winger from Bridgend. But what lovely footballing skills by Adrian Davies.
Yes, and that is the answer for defences that are up very, very quickly. That deft little push through by Adrian Davies allowed the young winger, Bridgend winger, centre for Bridgend of course, to get through. The Japanese had a turn, a nice bounce, and an excellent try.
Gareth Thomas, just 20 years of age, scored on his debut for the Welsh under-21 side this season, in this his first full season in Heineken League rugby, and what a dream start to his senior international career. "16 points for Neil Jenkins in the first half. He'll want to get this one, having missed 2 on the trot. Just inside that left-hand post. Beautifully struck by Jenkins. His total then up to 18, as Wales build on their first half lead, pushing up now then towards the 50-point mark.
We'll see this from this angle. A beautiful little chip through by Adrian Davies.
Kick rather too long again by Japan from the kick-off, giving Adrian Davies this time plenty of time. But the one thing I'm sure that Alec Evans will want to see is the same disciplined approach, because he'll see the opportunity here for this new look Welsh side really to improve further for the more difficult games to come.
Yes, I've already stated he's a very hard taskmaster. Wales are certainly controlling it. I hope that they now just won't try and, as individuals, try and run away and try and score when people in better positions it would be much easier to set other people up.
Good little run by Sinali Latu, setting up the chance for Japan, but the ball not coming back. So a scrum to Wales. Emmett Lewis with the first inroads, but the Welsh handling letting itself down really. Space now then for Yoshida. The fullback Matsuda's there, couldn't quite take it though, just knocking it on in fact. Matsuda, the long-haired fullback, coming up. They're trying to inject a bit of pace into that attack. Free kick for a crooked feed this time by Andy Moore. And Wales knocked back 10 metres. Horikoshi again then, into Ota. Setting it up for Japan. Horikoshi a second chance. Into Ferguson the lock. This is good play, taken on by Kunda, the captain for Japan. There's space on this side. Good support again from Motoki. Japan inside the Welsh 22, looking then to ease this ball back, but Wales again have gone round on the wrong side. but quickly taken. Sione Latu, again Wales not back 10 metres. Takahashi driven back in the tackle. And Wales defending pretty well there, keeping the Japanese out.
Yes, the referee telling Mike Hall that the Welsh must retreat 10 metres, but of course the Japanese are so quick on their feet and move that ball so quickly they didn't have much chance in doing either.
Kashihara's tapped down at the front of the line-out, not quite reaching Horikoshi. And this time, the Japanese penalised for some verbals. And we're getting the full range of Welsh hymn singing from the supporters at the Free State Stadium.
Well, I think there was a lot of tension for the players, but also for the supporters. And I think now at 43 points to nil, they feel that they could just be about the right moment to burst into song.
Yes, certainly Wales haven't had a great deal to sing about in the last international season. Garen Jenkins tidying up the tap down from Gareth Llewellyn. But I think we've seen more support play, so to speak, in the line-out today than in some of the other games so far in this World Cup. Referee Sklar allowing a certain amount of support as soon as the man has touched the ball. Stolen this time then by Sakuraba. Yashida going for the gap. Almost getting through. Good support too from Motoki. Japan going on, but stolen by Wales. Clement to Jenkins, to Thomas. Going for his hat-trick of tries. Makes the ball available. But Stuart Davis's pass is intercepted. There's a chance for Matsuda coming up from full-back then. To the delight of the crowd at Bloemfontein. Possession again for Japan. Kunda, the skipper, takes it on. Horikoshi with options both sides. Hirao links in with Motoki. Japan, for the moment, going across the field, though. That's a lovely pass to Matsuda, the fullback. On the outside is Ferguson. Oh, so unlucky there. And the ball was knocked forward before Sione Latu could get to it. But at last we're seeing this man Matsuda running.
Yes, and for possibly the first time in the whole match, we saw how dangerous the Japanese can be, especially when they're under pressure themselves. They can certainly turn it quickly into attack. And that's the type of game that Wales must try and avoid playing. There's a great danger, I believe, in wanting to move possession that under normal circumstances you might be a little bit more negative, but the Japanese certainly want to attack at any opportunity. And it's good to see some of this tremendous tackling by both sides, but in that instance from Emyr Lewis, the Welsh number 8.
Happily, Sione Latu, the number 8, has recovered from that knock. Referee just wanting to check on the props on the far side. That's Osamu Ota. Emyr Lewis allowed to continue for the moment. And the Japanese penalised. And the referee wants to speak to Sione Latu as Japan are warming up a replacement on the touchline. That's Takora. That a huge kick by Tony Clement. fine example there of the sweetness of the timing in his kick.
A good Welsh scrimmage here. They had Japan going back, and Andy Moore marshalling them ahead because he said, you are straight, keep it going. And that is the tactic. Keep the Japanese in tight so that they don't run around the field, knocking you down in midfield.
Derwin Jones, huge leap at the top, taking it on. Moore to Davis, chance then for the three-quarters again. Mike Hall, Tony Clement up. The tackling, though, by Matsuda, the fullback, was good. But it's Hemi Taylor for Wales. At his shoulder, Garen Jenkins and Mike Griffiths. Alive for Moore. Options again, both sides. The kick by Adrian Davis for Ian Evans to go through. But there'd been just a bit of a knock on there as Neil Jenkins went through, looking for a try.
Well, even if the score does suggest that Wales are running away with it, it's certainly not easy, particularly behind, because the Japanese tackling is immense. They're up very, very quickly. They're knocking the Welsh backs down, and it's very difficult to get that ball away behind.
Adrian Davis just getting a bit of a knock there. He lost his place, of course, after that home defeat by Canada at the Arms Park in '93. The one game he played since was on tour in the South Seas last summer. And Adrian Davis in a little bit of trouble. Maybe he turned the ankle there.
Yes, although there's a lovely covering of grass on this pitch, it's still very firm underneath. It'll take a long aluminium stud, but it's certainly the kind of conditions that is very, very conducive to turning over on your ankle.
Kunda and his front row ready to go down then as Adrian Davis has recovered. Wales on attack once again then, deep inside the Japan 22. But again, the scrum has gone around 90 degrees. Those figures tell their own story, don't they? Wales with 5 tries so far in that 43-0 total. As Horikoshi again looks to feed. Wales warming up a replacement for Adrian Davis. Otto the winger. So the Tongan winger, all 14.5 stone of him, taking Japan away from their own try line, dicing with danger a little in the first instance, but getting away with it, as Wales now will bring on a replacement, David Evans, resurrecting his international career. Capped from Cardiff a few seasons ago, out in fact since the '91 World Cup, Adrian Davis, as we look again at this clearance by Otto. Adrian Davis then leaving the field. I'm sure he'll have been happy with his contribution this afternoon though. David Evans, the replacement, coming onto the field and moving into the centre with Neil Jenkins taking up the outside half position. Andy Moore. Llewellyn does the scrum halves work this time. Hemi Taylor, the continuity of possession that Wales are looking for. Sione Lato got in, but only as far as Jenkins. Matsuda across, just managing to save his side there. That's the perennial problem that Japan face always at top-class international rugby. Their lack of height in the line-out. And those two, Gareth Llewellyn and Derwin Jones, have won ample ball for Wales. Jones again. This time, though, lifted, says the referee. So Japan, to the delight, I'm sure, of the crowd here, will look to counter-attack from there. Ferguson, out to Masuho. Nice running by the winger. Good second phase ball too. Latu taking it on. Hirao opening it up this time. Yoshida looking for support. It comes from Otto. Wales, for once, forced to defend inside their own 22. But Wales have stolen the possession, and it's John Davis on the counter-charge. He'll do well to keep possession of that ball, though.
Yes, the neutral supporters here in Bloemfontein frustrated that the Japanese can't show us a little bit more of that enterprise in rugby. Their speed of pass and delivery of pass and timing of pass certainly is a lesson, I think, for any aspiring young rugby player.
And they have plenty of options on both sides again. Hirao. A little bit of obstruction, maybe by Mike Hall. Yes, penalised by the referee, Ephraim Sklar. Hirokoshi gives the ball into Takahashi. Kashihara, in fact, the flanker was there. The ball popped up again. Japan just a couple of metres out from the Welsh line. The winger Otto switches it to Hirao. Just held up once again. And this time, Japan penalised, going in, using their hands on the floor.
Well, I'm sure the home support would have loved to have seen a Japanese try on that occasion. But Alec Evans must be very, very pleased with the way in which Wales are defending. And particularly Hemi Taylor and Stuart Davis there. It looked on a number of occasions that Japan were going to breach the Welsh line, but the tackling was immense behind. Indeed, as we've seen probably in these opening matches, the tackling these days leaves a lot to be... well, one actually... I love watching some of these big hits. Watch his tackle, Hemi Taylor brings them back. You've got number 8, Emir Lewis there pushing them back as well, and they're only about half a metre from the line.
So Wales then, after that little flurry, following the loss of Adrian Davis's ankle, that'll be a bit of a worry to them. Particularly the style of play that coach Alec Evans has been trying to introduce. Getting the ice treatment immediately. Bit of luck for Gareth Thomas. Slicing his kick badly, though. Matsuda and Masuho. Matsudo, lovely running by the fullback. Short of support, though. But there's more ball for Hirikoshi. Support too from Kunda, the skipper. Takahashi takes it on. Wales having to leave it go. And again, a good drive by Sinali Latu. Oh, the crowd absolutely love this. There's space on this side. There's got to be a try. To the absolute delight of the home crowd at Bloemfontein, Lopeti Otto finally gets a try for Japan. And that was a lovely effort too, Gareth.
Yes, indeed, and well deserved. They've put Wales under a bit of pressure in the last couple of minutes. And if there was anybody outside this stadium, they must have thought that the winning try had been scored. Such was the noise level. But again, look at that lovely timing, that lovely, beautiful flighted passes that the Japanese backs have been showing us during the afternoon. Unfortunately, from their point of view, they haven't had enough worthwhile possession to have utilised it better.
Masuo looking for his first success of the afternoon then. But again, pushing it wide of the post. And so the Welsh lead has been reduced to 43-5 by the try by Otto.
And as we watch this, really, Wales must be criticising themselves, because as much as we appreciate this, they've really tried on every opportunity to move the ball. It was a defensive error by Wales in the first instance, in kicking away hard-won possession, allowing the Japanese the opportunity to come back at them.
Referee playing some advantage from the knock-on by Derwin Jones, and deciding, in fact, to call them back for the scrum. Horikoshi, the scrum half, has had to work very hard behind this beaten Japanese pack. Again, the pressure coming from Wales, but Latu out again to Otto. That pass might well have been just a little forward anyway, but the Japan side ran out of space on this side of the field. Stuart Davis taking it on for Wales. Plenty of time, surely, here for the defenders. Matsuda. That is a superb kick by the fullback. Oh, that really was quite something. Such a talented footballer, this man.
So when these Japanese do get the opportunity, they show they're not short of basic skills in the game. That was a superb kick by the fullback.
But again, Japan, through Bruce Ferguson, trying to get line-out possession, and it's been beyond them for most of this game. Again, Wales looking to get the pattern back into their play. Short again then to Hemi Taylor. The New Zealand-born flanker showing his tremendous upper body strength. John Davis this time taking it on, the slip pass to Gareth Llewellyn. The platform is here for Wales. Garen Jenkins takes it on. Space again on both sides. Can get it out quickly. David Evans. That's a lovely deft kick for Ian Evans if it stays in play. Not quite so. But that was much better from Wales.
Well, they are tying in the Japanese. The support is good in parts, but unfortunately from Wales' point of view, and I'm sure Alec Evans is going to be a hard taskmaster, he's going to be telling them about this, they're not supporting enough in depth. They're coming in ones and twos, and although the possession is laid back, certainly I think if Wales were much closer together, they would create a lot more problems for the Japanese.
That ball too short at the front of the line-out. So John Davis takes his place in the Welsh front row for the scrum. Back row options or a three-quarter move for Wales from the set scrum. Emmett Lewis with the secondary shove. Picks up Stuart Davis. Not quite there. And in fact, I think Wales have lost it. Stuart Davis losing it as he went to ground the ball for the try. And another bit of initiative then from Japan. Otto. Showing good pace. Just running out of space again though, but that's lovely to see. And whatever happens, the Japanese spirit is always the same, isn't it, Gareth?
Well, I'm sure they'll be firm favourites here in Bloemfontein because they're staying in this part of the world. And the home crowd certainly have taken them to heart. And why not? Because they really aren't getting any kind of worthwhile possession, but at any opportunity they're looking to attack.
Two-man line again then by Wales. Derwin Jones able to turn, slips the pass to Garen Jenkins. We've even got hookers actually using little grubber kicks now. And Wales pressing then for their sixth try, I should say, of this game. But a delay for some treatment needed on the Welsh side to Derwyn Jones, I think. Now, would you imagine, Gareth, there'd be changes in personnel in this Welsh side for the later games?
Yes, certainly. Well, they've got a match and a half against New Zealand coming next, and of course an all-important match against Ireland. But I think Alec Evans must be quite pleased with some of the fundamental work carried out by the Welsh forwards in particular. They've taken some good possession, they've used it quite well. The backs have been getting much change out of the Japanese backs because they're up very, very quickly and tackling them hard. But the control from the Welsh forwards has been very good.
Japan forced to defend again then, just a metre out from their own line. Derwyn Jones. Wales on the drive, in the support of him. But it's Japan who will get the put in. And really you might have expected Wales to have scored from that position. Japan still under pressure then, but a good quick strike by the hooker. Gareth Thomas quickly to Tony Clement. Choosing the narrow side. Too high, says referee Ephraim Sklar. Wales looking then to run this ball. Garen Jenkins, the man on the pivot for Andy Moore. Straight out to Stuart Davis, the dummy, to Hemi Taylor. The possession rather slow though for Wales, but the referee decided that that was a proper ruck, so Wales going forward will get the put in at the scrum. Just over 10 minutes to go at the end of this game. Just the one Welsh try in the second half to date. Emmett Lewis picks up for Mike Hall. But that ball has gone forward. And maybe a bit of overcomplication there.
Mike Hall must regret having come on that blind side because Otto tried to cut him in half. What a tackle that was.
Hirao opening it up dangerously in his own territory, but there's a nice angle of running there by Masuho. Hacked on by Motoki. And Japan then pushing up yet again towards Welsh territory. Really always alive to the opportunity, Japan. As Wales warm up a second replacement, this is Stuart Roy. So maybe Derwyn Jones hasn't recovered sufficiently from the knock he took a few minutes ago. Beautiful take by Gareth Llewellyn. David Evans, lovely angles of running again by the Welsh replacement centre. Hemi Taylor, again showing good strength. But this time it's Wales who are penalised for leaping in over the top. Emmett Lewis this time. Quickly taken again then by Japan. Kashihara. Ian Evans brings him down. But there'd been another knock on, so this time the scrum will go to Wales. Just about 9 minutes to go in this game, and don't forget, England's big opener against Argentina in Durban, following immediately after this game.
Fine tackle by Ian Evans there as Derwyn Jones comes off the field. Sure, he's taken a little bump, but he's done more than a job today. He certainly has controlled that line out, which has really given Wales the dominating platform during the whole of this match. And Stuart Roy coming onto the field will still maintain that dominance in the line out, I am sure.
Stuart Roy winning his first captain, coming on for his Cardiff teammates. Hemi Taylor standing off from the scrum. Tony Clement, good burst of pace into the line. But that's stolen again, and it's that man Matsuda who's coming away. Kept alive well too by Japan. Horikoshi again, that short little pass into his back row. And again, this time for Kajihara. Oh, this is good stuff by Japan. They've lost it this time though. Mike Hall slips the pass to Gareth Thomas. He can go all the way, showing good pace as well as power in this game. And that is a hat-trick of tries for the 20-year-old from Bridgend on his international debut. What a day for him. Good pass too by Mike Hall, giving him the opportunity.
Yes, I think it was Lopetti Otto's desire to decapitate Mike Hall, which unfortunately for Mike Hall, but fortunately for Gareth Thomas there, gave him the opportunity to get away. He certainly had far too much pace there, but for the Japanese defence. But certainly it was Otto's desire to take Mike Hall out of the game that allowed Gareth Thomas the room.
So Neil Jenkins should make this 8 from 10. No problem at all then for the Pontypridd outside half, as Wales finally hit the 50-point mark as Gareth Thomas celebrates his hat-trick.
We'll see this ball coming out. It's Emir Lewis's pass, and there, look at that tackle yet again. And as much as Matsuda tries to get across, what a wonderful moment for this youngster from Bridgend, an hat-trick of tries on his debut.
Garen Jenkins, the hooker, taking that ball bravely. And Neil Jenkins looking again to counter. Wales in a bit of bother though. David Evans held up there. But they've managed to retain possession. And no nonsense this time from Neil Jenkins, taking Wales out of their own 22. Neil Jenkins now then back in his customary outside half position as Adrian Davis has left the field. Japan again calling the shortened line towards Ferguson at the back. Hirikoshi looking to get it away, but stolen again by Hemi Taylor. Emir Lewis, space on this side. David Evans can't quite take it, but the referee's happy for them to continue. Thomas looking for a fourth try. But bravely done by little Hirikoshi. Stuart Davis to Garen Jenkins. Wales needing to set it up once again. Quickly taken by Andy Moore to Neil Jenkins. David Evans back inside again for Hemi Taylor to run straight. And at last, the forward gets on the try sheet. And the second try of his international career for Cardiff's New Zealand flanker, Hemi Taylor.
And a well-deserved try as well, because nobody's worked harder than Hemi Taylor throughout the afternoon. And that try certainly would been well-deserved for a man who has tackled everything, supported everybody, and what a way to finish off a hard-working afternoon with this fine try. Wales are improvising the passes. They're a bit static in passing, but that pass back inside allows Hemi Taylor to get away. A beautiful handoff, and Matsuda must have wished that he had sidestepped him instead of handing him off, but a good try for Hemi Taylor.
And in the meantime, Neil Jenkins has converted that one to take Wales to 57 after their 7th try. And it was quite easy at the end of the day. Just that little switch pass gave Taylor, whose power and pace took him clear of the Japanese defence. Gareth Fuller maintaining possession for Wales. And Stuart Davis and Garen Jenkins well in there too. Good play by the hooker. John Davis, this time with the pickup. Showing good pace too, the Neath prop. Mike Griffiths popping it up. Taken on again by Gareth Llewellyn. No, in fact, it was Stuart Davis. Jenkins, the little switch again. Good handling by Wales. Davis in the move for the second time. And the counter-attack led by Motoki. Horikoshi will want to pop it up again, but Latu was too close to him. Hall, the kick again into space for Gareth Thomas, but just running out as Gareth Thomas now then chasing a share of the Welsh tries record. With just about 6.5 minutes to go at the end of this game. And in fact, Stephen Hilditch, the touch judge from Ireland, has spotted some jiggery-pokery there. And the Japanese captain, Masahiro Kunda, is called to him by referee Sklar, together with, I think it's Sione Latu, the number 8 forward. Well, not quite clear what exactly happened there. Maybe a bit of stamping earlier.
Yes, I think Stephen Hilditch, the touch judge on the far side, had noticed that the Japanese number 8, Latu, had stamped on a Welsh player, and I think he's rather fortunate that he's only had a caution on that occasion, and I think the referee was quite clear in saying any more of that and you're off. And that would be a pity, because certainly the game hasn't been played in anything but the best of spirit.
Latu brought in then for that huge throw. Oh, that's quite something. Creating so much space. Masuo from the left wing. Oh, this is tremendous stuff by Japan. Takahashi, the prop, showing good pace too. Ferguson on the burst. Lovely running by the Fijian. Oh, and what good hands too. Motoki linking with Kunda, the captain. Oh, this is tremendous stuff by Japan. Hirao again to Oto. Good tackling. But look at the handling again here from Japan. Oh, this is a delight to watch. Popped up again for Latu. Ferguson. Latu in the move again. Takahashi just held up short. And Wales killing the ball. Well, that move from the moment of the huge long throw in the line-out, that was worth a try in anybody's money.
Watch this quick take.
Yoshida just held up short, but Horikoshi has options here. Japan looking for their second try, but Wales collapsed them all. So there's another chance here for Japan. Ferguson quickly. Just driven back though in the tackle, and it's Andy Moore who's able to clear the Welsh lines.
Well, if it's good rugby you've come to see, you certainly saw it there, particularly from the Japanese. And it's that fast-flowing rugby that they can produce, but they can't get enough worthwhile possession that frustrates so many admirers around the world.
Horikoshi, the scrum half, needing some treatment. Ferguson,
but again,
he was so close, wasn't he?
Yes, but the Welsh tackling certainly has been very good this afternoon. Andy Moore, the scrum half, in there, getting the forward back, and then clearing the line.
So well into injury time at the end of this game. Wales safely through their first hurdle, leading by 57 points to 5. Despite the great efforts, the plucky efforts of Bruce Ferguson and the rest of the Japanese side. And maybe they have one more opportunity. They'll run this one. Ferguson again. Running back for once, though, into the Welsh tackling, but gets another 10 metres. Takahashi this time just short. Beautiful pickup. Just short of the line, Japan. Referee Sklar just not able to give it. But again, they have the ball. There's a try this time. Second try of the game then for the Tongan-born right winger Lopetioto, to again the delight of the crowd here at Bloemfontein, who, as Gareth mentioned, have really taken the Japanese to their hearts in this game.
Yes, and I think it was inevitable, wasn't it? After all that pressure, it looked simple, but everybody on the Japanese side has worked very, very hard to set that try up. And I can't think of a better way to finish off a splendid afternoon's rugby.
Masuo looking for a first success then. Just drifting wide again. 57 points to 10 then for Wales, as referee Sklar again checks his watch, and in fact that's it. The end of the game. A satisfactory result for Wales. 57-10 they win. Coming up next, England against Argentina. Stay with us.